Rejected. Yeah, that is the 2024 draft constitution. It's been rejected again. What is your reaction?
Okay. Again, this is not the first time we're talking about this constitution. It's been long. We started it from the 2020 draft, right? All the way to where we are right now. But first, let me quickly just comment. When you're talking about the budget, you know, passing it without debating on it or whatever, I've always said it concerns me. Every year they come with a budget, and the reason why I'm mentioning that is you budgeted 15, it went to 30 for the presidential tour, but every time you realize that you budget 30, they spend what, 66.
25 to 66.
Exact, 25 to 66. But again, it's like the way this budget presentation or tabling is, the minister does not come with actual expenditures, you know, before tabling the other year's budget for the assembly to see what was approved, what was actually spent to justify what they're asking for the subsequent year.
You know, we have that problem in the law because legislation, constitution gives right to National Assembly to appropriate monies for all the ministries, departments, and agencies. But we have a Public Finance Act that allows minister to be able to via. Do you understand? That allows minister to be able to via. So this is why in the budget, when you look at it, there is a budget line that is called the centralized services. The centralized services does not state exactly where the budget goes, that budget allocation. And what goes to the centralized services? It's hundreds of millions that goes to centralized services. So it has also given the power to the minister to via. Do you understand? To move anything from anywhere. This is why in my debate I said the budget session make no sense.
At all.
Because we cannot make a budget and approve a budget and minister now in turn have a right to move anything from anywhere and give anything to anybody. And the minister, in fact, the FPAC report you're talking about, minister violated that you people are not talking about. I'm not trying to vindicate the KMC for the 7 million, which is an audit query. People need to understand an audit query and, you know, and what happened at the end of the day, whether it is missing or not. That's an audit query. You need to take out this paper to substantiate this expenditure. If you don't take out that paper, that is a query until you are able to substantiate that with a proven document of expenditure.
And they
this
give
will
you
happen
time.
in
They
that
give you
place.
time to do that.
Do you know, to give you time to do that? With the timeline, if you refuse to do that, you cannot substantiate, then that will prove that you have misused that money. That's what happened for the case of KMC. But you have seen it in the case of the environment. Even the Public Finance Act says, before the minister via, that environment request should come from the departments and agencies before Minister of Finance is able to do that. That's what the Public Finance Act says. But minister vied more than 60-something million dollars before, without the request of those people. And those people, those things were even vied without minister's approval. And the law said minister must approve without the finance minister's approval. All those things happen. This government is doing a mess.
Okay. Nenneh, continue.
Yeah, because again, like I said, it just goes to attest that a lot of people did not read this report.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have not read it. You just saw three letters, and then you jump. Because I have read it and I've really picked on all those things, which are very, very important, which is your business, everybody's business. Even that person in Kabada, it's their business that was done, you understand, and not the right way. Because this system that you guys have, it's open for mismanagement, it's open for malpractice, it's open to corruption, and so many things which are not being checked. And again, it can be kept for a debate for another day.
Yeah.
But now, Constitution B, all I've said from day one, that 2020 has been super consultative. Again, it was not the perfect document that has ever emerged. It is progressive, right? Constitution building is that. But then, again, Mansuma main disappointment and frustration is that this perception and mentality and propaganda that's been peddled around that president has been stripped of his powers. And a lot of people also just grabbed that and ran with it and used that to campaign against it. I felt it was very dishonest and a cheap way to manipulate people's mind, to think that, oh, well, okay, they disadvantage the president and blah, blah, and did. Even some of the National Assembly, if you have one-on-one conversation, you realize that this is what the mentality they have. Just because I support Buba, I want Buba to be empowered, and anything I'm told, not that I believe or I know, but anything I'm told that is going to strip Buba of the powers to moderate this show, I will go against that because I am supporting Buba. This is the mentality. It was so myopic and a lot of misjudgment. So at the end of the day, this is what they believed. And like you said, the process that they went to bring about the 2024 draft. We all know who were the drafters of the 2020 draft. Yeah. We all knew the processes that they went through to come up with the 2020 draft. We all know how much was expensed on the 2020 draft. And we all gave it our blessing from day one. From the time they were enacting the act to the whole process, to the end, to the submission, the tabling, and everything else. Of course, we all did not agree 100%. Ñun ñëpp am nañ suñ differences. Waaye ñun ñëpp suñ bëggee génne ku ci nekkaloon nanguwut, which means ne kayit sa du amaat. Kayit sa du amaat parce que man li ma d'accord su ma ko génnee kii génne bug ba jeex na. Kenn du d'accord waaye am na yoo xam ne ñun ñëpp dañ am pour d'accord ñu expect ne as we go we can make those things better. Why the bigger thing is, at least that constitution, the 2020, was a people-centered draft. It was, no matter what you say about it. Now, the news is 2024, and we've been asking that question. Where was it even done? I'm sure you all don't know. All you had is like you explained here, and now the manipulation. Already you are involved in a negotiation. You went to the extent of at least coming up with a compromise. A compromise or just to move ahead because of people are asking for it, right? You want to satisfy people's calling and interest. At that point in time, you are thinking, okay, when are we going to finalize that process? All of a sudden, boom, you hear that something has been gazetted. Does it mean that in time, being in the consultations, that was being worked on? You did not know. Because it cannot be that quick. So Purman is absolute dishonesty and it's manipulation. Why would you even give me that impression that, okay, let's engage, we can get somewhere. Let's talk back and forth. Ndekete yen amna ci lolé neka. Kon yen sen consultation bobu nono, sen dialogue bobu, sen compromise bobu was not genuine. It was all shrouded with lies. It was all shrouded with manipulation and deceit. It was not honest and it was not genuine. Now let's move forward. Okay, gazette nañ another one, and then definitely you know the present nañ. But then you see that they were claiming, okay, that 2020 stripped the president of powers. Forgetting the presidency is an office. It's not the individual. That provision or that they were attaching to one individual could have come back to affect me. Who says I don't want to be a president? Who says I'm not capable to be a president? But I was supporting it. It only takes an honest person to look beyond an individual and support the issue, knowing that it will affect everybody. And that is control. That is trying to build a foundation for system for posterity. But now, this particular one, it is blatantly clear. Blatantly clear. It was crafted. The Constitution, you read the provision, you can see Adama Barrow in every sentence, the dots, the Y's, the T's, you can see it all over from the preamble to the appendices. You can see him there. So which one is more individual-centered? And ruling what I hold, it's not about the individual. It's not about party. It's about Gambia. And again, you've said it. We talk about, like Syria said, we butchered 1997 54 times, right? But this one, you're telling me 126. Yeah. So, you know what?
Before it become constitution.
We ain't got nothing on Yahya Jammeh, if we want to use that. We ain't got nothing on Yahya Jammeh. So where's the moral authority to question or chastise Yahya Jammeh on doing that? Again, not to hold brief, but we are speaking on the reality. Yeah. At the end of the day, what we see is we're not going to have another constitution going into 2026. Because of what we have the time, we have to be realistic. It's possible. So what do we do? Now it's left to the citizen to know people who are there for their interests, people who understand the plight of the vulnerable people, people who understand the plight and hear the voices of the voiceless, the people who are crying, and ready to take up the mantle and fight to bring about right and just do it right for once for them.
Okay.
And that cannot happen anywhere, and anything can make that happen, but 2026 are the day of elections.
Okay, Talibo?
Now, quickly, the diaspora voting.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's dishonest for the majority to say you're doing it for political reasons. I asked the question, in the diaspora, only because you're from the UDP, is it only UDP that lives in the diaspora that are going to vote? Should we allow the diaspora to vote?
No.
Because I have had a debate to say, oh, well, no, Nyunyo gonna am support in the diaspora, as in the NPP.
Is that a question for them or me?
No, yeah, the NPP are claiming that they have more support in the diaspora.
They claim, I'm trying to say they claim. So if they claim they have more support in the diaspora, the plight of those supporters, members they have in the diaspora or the support, their plight, doesn't it matter to them?
You saw Ahmad Jita querying that these people do not have interest and regard for them as even party militants who resides in diaspora. Ahmad Jita said that fondly on his talk show.
And they might not agree with him, but what he said is true.
So there is not a pretense.
Time is coming.
So quickly, for the purpose of time, I think for me, I commend you. I commend you because you were not the one that tabled the bill. But there was one particular clause that you have found to be a blatant disregard and violations of their rights, and these are people who contribute immensely to the well-being and development of the country. You took it upon yourself to go back there, to plead and present and say, let's reconsider. But then again, when I saw it, it's not even about the substance of the clause. It's about, oh, you know what, on Monday, you did not agree with us.
Yeah.
Now we have an opportunity to equalize. And it was just blatantly that. The guy maybe had nothing to say and say it's political, but I don't believe it's being political. He meant that. It was just a matter of tick for tack. You did this to us, now we have an opportunity to do the same thing. And they voted onto something they don't even believe, because majority of them, outside of the parliament, they will tell you how they want the parliament, the diaspora to vote. But when they go in the parliament, they have a principal, a master to serve, because that is what butters their bread. And they will just do what that person wants and nothing else.
Okay.
It's dishonesty.